the Netherbrain fell, you and Astarion have seen more of Faerun than you ever thought possible. One night, he tells you that these last 6 months of happy memories are the counterweight to 200 years of misery. The next day, you receive an invitation written in a frail hand, inviting you to a gathering back in the place where your journey together began. A chance to meet with the friends and allies who were by your side in the battle against the Absolute.
Thou wert called here, some from above, some below. For with thine bond, together thou hast kept the wheel of fate spinning when it threatened to halt. Though thou wert drawn far apart in the months after the collapse of the Absolute, tonight, fate renews thy bond once more. Thou shouldst take care to preserve it. It is a great weapon, wielded in the hand of good. Go. Know one another once more.
You made it! Now the revelry can truly begin. You would think someone of my vintage would be inured to the passage of time. Yet these past 6 months have seemed endless without your company. But now, our paths cross once more. We have all pined for each other's company, I sense. I cannot imagine otherwise after what we shared. That bond was forged in a crucible that can never be stoked again, Oak Father willing. It is a bond that can weather any distance, any passage of time. I know it can, for I feel the longing for old friends in my heart each day. You are right, of course. I am accustomed to dwelling on the past, even when it brought me nothing but unhappiness. You changed that, and gave me the most precious of memories. Now the task is to make yet more of them, so that each reunion shall be all the sweeter. And who's to say we need to make such gatherings a rare occasion? My hearth is yours to warm yourself beside always. Now, we have much to catch up on. Do not allow me to ramble on. I am eager to hear all you've been doing. Please, spare no details. I shall not lie. I have an ulterior motive in wishing to hear all. It is the children, you see. My charges. Their appetite for bedtime tales is greater than I could ever have anticipated. Another story, Daddy Halsin. Another is the chorus that greets me each nightfall. They have all but exhausted my repertoire in but a few short months. No mean feat given the lifetime I have lived. I desperately need new material, please. My reputation is at stake. I am all ears, though I never cared for that phrase. A rather unsettling image. You have kept yourself busy. I expected no less, in truth. I shall be able to keep the children enthralled for a few more nights yet, thanks to you. And should you wish to retell of your exploits in person, well, I shall not object to a night off. Now, it would be cruel of me to hoard you all to myself for the evening, as much as I would like to. I shall leave you to the others for now, unless there was anything else. By all means. I could get used to this. Our community grows rapidly. In 6 months, we have turned what was once a shadowy wasteland into a true home for all. In another 6 months, I would wager the scars of the past will be entirely invisible, even to those who remember them. The old masonry of Moonrise Towers and Rythwin have been repurposed into new homes, and the land is rich with harvests and bountiful trees. Nature and civilization are in harmony, stronger together. It is, truly. Though a more complex, evolving beast than I could ever have anticipated. I spoke often of balance before. Only now do I realize the balance is no simple, fixed thing. We welcome folk from all walks of life. Anyone who wishes for a new start. Naturally, it can be chaotic at times, but it is a thrilling sort of chaos. It thrives in ways I could never have dreamed of. You are welcome whenever you like, and for however long you please. Before you go, I have something for you. Just a little keepsake, really. Do you remember how I told you I like to whittle? I made this. Ducks are my favorite, but I thought they were particularly fitting in this case. They are migratory birds, of course, traveling with the turn of the seasons. Yet, they always find their way back to where they belong. Just like old friends find themselves back in each other's company. Just a token to remember me by. Now, I've taken up enough of your time. Go on. Enjoy the festivities. We can speak again later. It truly is splendid to see everyone gathered together again. If only for a night. I hope the sun does not make haste to rise on us. Quite often. They come and go as they please. But with so many playmates to avail of, they are far from strangers. They ask after you often. What you did for them will never be forgotten. I can see it in the land all around me. But more importantly, I see it in their faces whenever they visit. To make a child smile is to dabble with the power of gods as far as I'm concerned. I spend half my days in ursine form. The children demand it. I had a score of them taking turns riding upon my back just days ago. I'm glad they are so comfortable with the Oakfather's creations. But they must learn that not all are as amiable as I am. A lesson for another time, though. They deserve some joy. As for roaming, that impulse has dwindled, I must admit. Perhaps because I have found where I am meant to be. As did I, but somehow I feel like I no longer need to roam. That I have found something worthy laying roots for. Amazing what can be discovered about oneself, even at a ripe old age. Do you truly even need to ask? Of course! Who could not open their home to a befeathered hero of Baldur's Gate? Ah, and I did promise the children I would bring them back a surprise. Oh, imagine their faces. On occasion, but I prefer not to interfere. Francesca of the High Forest is Archdruid now, and by all accounts, she has proven to be a steady and wise influence. Even Korga may yet find true balance, thanks to her influence.
No, not even close.
There's something strange in your old friend's mouth. What is it? A familiar invitation. He wants you to throw the object he's dropped. But it isn't a ball. It's the astral prism. Scratch barks merrily in something like agreement. He whines. Let's talk, more throw. He snaps the air and wiggles. He's either miming fighting a many-limbed creature or dancing. It's unclear. He is, however, exhausted. He's had plenty of adventures without you. The joy in the owlbear's eyes is clear. He longs to have a home, and Halsin is perfect.
You were starting to wonder if you'd show up. Honestly, so have I. Oh, come here, will you? It's been forever. You feel a little more substantial than before. Less camping and scrounging off the land, I take it. Same. In fact, I found a nice meadow not far from where I live now. Every now and again, I'll spend the night there. For old time's sake. I'm glad you seem well. Truly. I had no doubt. But I'm glad to hear you say it all the same. Must I? You presume a great deal. I'm joking. Of course I want to know. Tell me all. Do you ever rest? Think of all those poor, budding adventurers looking to make a name for themselves. Take some time off and give them a chance, why don't you? Hopefully, these meetups will become a regular occurrence. It's not that I miss the tadpoles, but at least it brought us together. Now we've got to make the extra effort ourselves. I'm sure we will, but let's be proactive about it all the same. We're more than capable. After all, we've faced down bigger threats than wrangling together a few social calendars. Don't be a stranger.
And how have our friends fared without us? I'm glad. It would be so easy to go through everything we did and come out the other side bitter and twisted. But they deserve happiness. We all do. And I will forever be grateful to have found it with you. I do feel a little bad keeping you all to myself. After all, I get to see you every night. Go on, go mingle. Enjoy your time with the others. Bless them with your presence. I'll be here when you're ready. I'll always be here, my love.
For 2 months I trained the Knights of the Comet. For 2 more I skewered Kithraki bellies. And for 2 more yet, I traveled through Limbo. But to see your face, it brings me even more pleasure than taking a Royal Inquisitor's head. A bit. It's taken a dozen Gish's talents, a few stolen psi crystals, and 2 10 days of effort to conjure my projection. Worth it, I'd say. I miss this place. This... Fey Run. Shractalor. I wouldn't expect you to. The capital city of the Githzerai. An exiled people, once kin with mine, until the madness of civil war ripped our one sky into 2. Our Gish sent word of the rebellion to their god king Zareth Minyaragith through the cosmos. He's agreed to parley. It's fallen to me to secure an alliance. Exactly the reaction I expected. My blade is keen as ever. But it was you who showed me that a proper victory doesn't always require a razor-sharp edge. Sometimes, a sincere plea is more persuasive than a dagger against the neck. Minyaragith is an ascetic. He reached out in good faith. This is his way. It is in this spirit that I must meet him. And if he refuses, I carry on. Gravity pulls me in but one direction. I am the comet. I will not rest until I burn Vlaakith's bones to ash and smash her phylactery to pieces. My people will be free. But you've heard that refrain before. Zealous, bossy, insistent. All part and parcel of my undeniable charm. Soon, when the comet has risen, when the Lich Queen has crumbled to dust, I miss this place. More to the point, I missed you. I'll be back one day. The Overgod himself couldn't keep me away.
Breathing, despite everything.
Well met. I am a magical projection of Gale of Waterdeep. And if you see this manifestation, that means I have prematurely perished. Alas, on this occasion I appear to have been erased from this plane in both soul and substance. So the usual protocol for revivification cannot be followed. I am, however, available for the duration of this spell to assist with the tying of any loose ends related to my recent departure from mortality. As a precautionarily prepared spell, I'm afraid I wasn't witness to the exact nature of my demise. However, on behalf of my creator, I wish to make abundantly clear that my death was an unfortunate accident, and in no way related to any attempted usurpation of the reigning divinities of the day. Retrieving the crown from the muddy floor of the Chionthar was surprisingly straightforward, if a little damp. I recall standing on the riverside, the icy chill of Netherese metal in my hands, and then... nothing. Gale of Waterdeep was gone. And so was I, until Withers kindly summoned me here to perform my final task. I have been entrusted with the delivery of a letter, to be given to one who cared most for me in life. I hope these words do something to ease the tragedy of my untimely and honestly, quite unexpected passing. With that, I'm afraid my spell is waning. Is there anything else you need of me before I blink out of existence? To think I believed godhood was worth losing all this.
Boo! We are not dreaming! It is our old friend! Oh, and it is good to be seen. Oh, after so many days down in the dark, Minsc began to wonder if he was some blind bug who had only dreamed himself to be large and bulksome. You will forgive the aroma, I hope. We were not expecting the Dusty One to open a portal to our very cell. Boo had a moment to lick himself clean, but there is a little too much of Minsc to cover. Minsc and Boo have been helping, of course. We guard the streets, while Jaheira is occupied with harperish matters. The Zentarum rule the city's underbelly, so Minsc and Boo went to give them a tickle. There were harsh words, battle cries, some manner of head wound. We awoke in a Zentish cell, awaiting trial by noble combat. Execution, says Boo, though I am not sure of the difference. It is a long walk to the gallows, and Minsc still has his fists, no? In ample time indeed. So long as the Bone Mage returns us to our cell by dawn, Boo would not be late to the bloodshed. But leave such matters for the morn. Tonight is for celebration and the telling of tales. How have you filled your days since we tore the sticky tyrant from the sky? Without tadpoles, Boo. Forgive my hamster squirrelishness. He has developed something of a taste for tadpole, and is displeased by the diet I have placed him on. But no better cure than the company of friends. There is much merriment to be made before the night is done. Go, and greet the others. Minsc shall make himself presentable. Ah, this pond shall do nicely, Boo. Though I see no soap. So you shall have to blow the bubbles for me.
Well now, you can make yourself presentable when you have a mind to. How nice to be understood again. I have spent the past months bickering with builders and bankers, all to restore the city exactly as it was. Same twisting alleys for purse pickers, same wooden buildings ready to get burnt by next year's dragon, same cisterns overflowing, huh? Baldurians simply get on with it. Stubbornness, civic spirit, plain stupidity. Perhaps all three, but nothing I will sniff at any longer. Harpers have come from half the world over to lend aid. Farmers, masons, healers. My own son, Jord, has been wooed to their ranks. Already he plans crop cycles in Worm's Crossing. Not so for my daughter. Ryan's rejoined the Flaming Fist. Temporarily, you understand. To organize the craftsmen. Though she spends more time locking up comrades for pocketing aid funds. They might learn a thing or two, if they don't expel her. Again. There is still much to do. People to house. A Harper network to rebuild. I may have little love for this city, but so long as my family chooses to serve it, I can do no less. But I see the flush in your cheeks when I speak of family. Perhaps you mean to start one of your own. Oh, I don't want to watch over a blood match where the jewelers call me auntie. You just be careful, Bowspawn. All right, Ball child. It is true you are no longer what you were. You have done well for yourself. For all your travels. I hope you have arrived where you want to be. Home. Whatever that means to you. Ah, sentiment. With the greatest affection, I can think of better ways to sour our stomachs. I must inspect the refreshments. You'll never know. Some ne'er-do-well might have tampered with the wine.
Gods, I must look a mess. I just rolled out from under a pesky ogre when Withers yanked me in. Oh, I didn't mean... Well, I didn't mean that. I just gutted the ogre, not... How about I change the subject before I dig this hole any deeper? It's so good to see you. And I've got so much to tell. The trolls I've torn open. The ghouls I've cleaved. The stories I've been itching to tell. I don't suppose you'd indulge me. Yes, but just the one, or I'll be yammering all night. You want to hear about the Stegosaurus that bullied Candle Keep, the impossible lich, or the young dragon who crawled out of Deeping Cave? There are tales galore of a great green dragon called Clogiliometer. Try saying that 5 times in a row. Clogiliometer, Clogilimuffer, Clogamother, whatever. Let's call it Old Gnawbone. Turns out, Old Gnawbone had kids. And one of them flew the roost and took to stalking a small elven enclave outside Crypt Garden Forest. The damn dragon had turned the place into a slave camp before I arrived. Sordid beyond words. He was a big boy, but still a young'un. A wonder of the skies, but a lumbering oaf on the ground. I tried a sly approach, but the whelp saw me coming and up it flew. Poison poured from its mouth as it descended.
I tumbled away, shot it with arrows, and it crashed to the ground. I could have ended the battle there and then, but this was prey that deserved to be played with. The beast was a smoking heap of black-green scales once the battle was over. The elves and I sang songs and drank mead in celebration until their barrels went dry. I've missed you too. The rush of battles we fought, the heart-to-hearts, the nights around the fire, the comfort of knowing I didn't face the unknown alone. If I had to do it all over again, and I'd rather not, to be clear, I can't imagine not having you at my side. I won't lie. Losing the eldritch blasts and the hexes took some getting used to. Nothing but void, where once there was hellfire. So, I stoked new fires in myself using the lessons my father once taught me. Now, the Blade of Frontiers is a ranger. A true hunter of monsters. A warden in more than just name. Go on, the night's young. You shouldn't waste a moment of it. Or waste a single drop of wine for that matter. I plan on downing half a bottle myself. Oops, did I say half a bottle? I meant half a dozen.
Thou feelst it still. She is not here. She who was the boldest. Hast thy thoughts been with brave Karlach often? Truly? Most of the time it was she who was strong for thee. Didst thou not employ her ever to carry all of thine loot? Thou art safe and warm because of her, even if her mortal fire has gone out. In but a dozen 10 days, an entire life was lived. More than mortal years. Mortal centuries were hers. Thy band, thy bond, gave that life to her. Not like thou wert her kin. It was written in her heart. Surely thou knowest that. In the fugue plain, her soul burns so bright, it pains the gods to look upon. Recall that in time, all changeth and all is rejoined. Thou shalt be with her again.
I've missed wine. Had to resort to making my own cider recently, which isn't bad, don't get me wrong. But a girl can't have fun with apples alone. You might be onto something there, though the name might need work. Somehow it sounds rude, even though I know otherwise. Oh, twist my arm and break it, why don't you? Never gets old.
Seems like a century ago that...
The owlbear's eyes are alight with excitement. He can't wait to go home with Halsin. Scratch yaps a request you know well. Fetch.
Wish I had a bag of holding.
Lucky thing I didn't decide to go to Arm yet. No way I would have made it back in time.
The past made present. I'm glad for it. For this.
Give it a shot.
What indeed? Prick up thy ears and listen. The balance of the world restored. The balance of these lives, mortal and otherwise, brought to account. Hear me, thou heroes, wastrels, friends. I have waited long to tell you these words. It is over. For now. Thou played thy part in weaving the fabric of fate itself, but for every thread you sewed, so did the gods unravel another. Sleep, rest, revel, but be ready. For thou mayst yet be needed. Until we meet again, I wish thee every possible fortune, health, wealth, love, and above all, problems worth solving. To you.